I don't even understand that, so I don't know what you mean.
Okay, well, I'm not able to accept her plea. We'll set it for hearing. We'll have the JSG come in for testimony on that.
That she
Raise your
called
right
me?
hand. Ms. Horton, you want to plead guilty to the violation that you tampered with your scram?
Yes, ma'am, but can I also say that I had talked, that she
Raise your
called
right
me?
hand first. Raise your right hand first. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under the penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can put your hand down. Well, wait a minute, because I need to first make you aware of your right. But you do not have to say anything. You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say can be used against you. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You have the right to proceed to a hearing on the violation and have the prosecution prove the violation beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is anyone threatening you to get you to give up your right to have a contested hearing on the violation?
No, ma'am.
Any promises being made to you if you give your rights today and plead guilty?
No, ma'am.
Or after the violation that there was a confirmed tamper with your GPS back on March 10th, 2025, how do you plead?
I plead guilty. The lady from Scram called me and she asked me, she said, Miss Horton, are you checking your products? And I said I hadn't because I'm at my aunt's house. I'm cleaning right now. So we discovered the new Dawn Oxy, the dark has alcohol products. Miss Simmons, Judge Simmons, I learned my lesson the last time when I was on Scrams. I am not drinking. So my product had alcohol in it that day. And with that being said, I no longer had any more problems with it because I bought gloves for the bathroom and gloves for the kitchen, the big, thick yellow ones that I can clean with. And I haven't had any scram problems since then because I'm not drinking. But I do admit to that because of the product tested.
Confirmed tamper allegations that there were 8 hours of more with a deviation.
I don't know. I've told you I've been cleaning. So products. That's why she called me and asked me.
Actually,
Have
this
I
says
not-
the total duration of the confirmed tampering yours was 17 hours and 20 minutes.
I don't even understand that, so I don't know what you mean.
Okay, well, I'm not able to accept her plea. We'll set it for hearing. We'll have the JSG come in for testimony on that. And they'll explain whether or not they'll explain, or your attorney can find out what cleaning product you were using and let the prosecution know so that JSG can give testimony as to whether or not your cleaning solution would cause your GPS tether to go off for 17 hours. We'll set it for a final pretrial and contempt hearing.
April 14th at 8 a.m.
April 14th at 8 a.m. in person at the court.
Yeah.
Yes,
May GSG appear via Zoom?
absolutely.
I'm sorry, from the jury trial.
The jury trial date,
It'll be April 21st at 8 a.m.
April 21st at 8 a.m. for jury trial. Any additional matters for the record?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, may I address bonds this time?
You may.
The court in his training proceed since, I believe, March 20th. You're requesting that the bond be reinstated to be released. This have some health issues that she's dealing with, as well as some personal matters. including
Doesn't follow court orders. So bond is revoked pending a contempt hearing. Any additional matters for the record?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You're all set for today.
Can you tell me what's going on with me?
We'll see you on the 14th, ma'am.
Will I be able to leave and get my things out of the apartment?
Your bond is revoked pending a contempt hearing.
Good morning, Your Honor. Haley Fortuna Gill on behalf of the people practicing for.
All right, good evening, everybody. I don't need to owe you a little explanation. I was late there. I got stuck at work, got there last minute. I had a friend of mine give me some clips for tonight, so we got some good clips. She wanted to be anonymous right now, but I got a feeling we're gonna end up thanking her. She got me some good clips. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Neil, for the gifted memberships. That's always awesome to see coming in. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Let's get back into Judge Simmons. I don't know what the hell was happening on that last hearing. Let's see if this one gets any better.
Michigan Court Rule 8.120.
Jacob Riley on behalf of Mr. Gomez.
To make a motion to practice under that.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to practice under Michigan Court Rule 8.120.
Motion is granted. Today is the date scheduled for a hearing on a probation violation. Are we having a hearing?
No, Your Honor, this will be the
Dr. Mr. Gomez, you want to plead guilty to the violation?
Yes, unfortunately.
Me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can put your hand down. Okay, Mr. Gomez, you have the right to have a contested hearing and have the prosecution and the probation department put forth evidence to establish your guilt as to the alleged violations. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
As to the violation that you failed to report to probation back on February 12th, 2025. How do you plead?
Your Honor, Mr. Hannah said he dropped
You dropped what?
that violation.
He said it to who?
Well, Your Honor, on the report I received, he did write kind of report in February dismissed violation number 3.
He reported on December 12th, I mean, on February 12th, because I signed this on the 13th or the 19th. When did he report?
I'm not sure. Your Honor.
It was the next day.
The next day of what?
It entered the schedule one.
Why didn't you report on the schedule?
I just missed it in my calendar. I called him later that same day. He said, just come in tomorrow. You just
Oh.
call me tomorrow.
As to the violation that you tested positive for alcohol with the ETG 3,168 nanogram per milliliter at Reality Counseling on January 23rd, 2025. How do you plead?
Well, that was my first test, Your Honor, and I didn't realize you had to bring in any,
I said, how did you
Case-
plead? I said, how did you plead?
sure,
Guilty or not guilty?
guilty.
And then as to the violation that you failed to appear for testing at Reality Counseling on February 1st, 2025. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Factual basis.
Mr. Gomez, is it true that you were sentenced to a term of probation that was for January of this year?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
And was one of the terms of that probation that you were not to consume any alcohol?
Yes.
Is it true that you violated that term and tested positive for alcohol on January?
Yes, I did, but there was standard research. I had taken a over-the-counter medication, cold remedy medication, and I didn't realize you had to bring in every time you test, if you take prescriptions or any kind of medication to the testing. That's why because I'm not drinking.
Were you also required to attend regular substance testing?
Yes,
Is it true that you failed to appear at the allotted time testing on January?
yes. I was 1 minute late and they went there. Told me to come in next day.
It's an excuse for everything.
I know, no.
And absolutely everything.
I know, well, I just started.
If you
Your
think
Honor.
that I believe that you tested with 3,168 nanogram per milliliter because you had some cough syrup.
Thanks.
I've heard that one before.
I know,
Did you drink the whole bottle of NyQuil?
no, just two of the things. Two of the things.
You are finished with your factual basis?
I believe so, Your Honor. Yes.
I'll accept your plea if I find your plea made freely, voluntarily, and intelligently, although I find that you have a multitude of excuses, which I don't have time for. You are way too old for me to have to deal with an excuse for every violation that came before me. Shouldn't have had any violations.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is a matter that was pled down to avoid you getting a super drunk. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you think that I think that you took the recommended dose of NyQuil and that puts you above or made you test a 3,125 nano or 68 nanogram per milliliter, then you must think that you're smarter than I am. I've had every excuse in the book, from taking NyQuil or using a very rigid regimen of hand sanitizer. What did we hear today? Someone was cleaning products. We've heard all kinds of things. It's all been tested. And I can assure you, those do not hold weight here. Not only has it been tested, I had a bench mate take her vacation and go and test every day using all the excuses that come before us, including the use of NyQuil. It's not gonna fly here, okay? If you would like to serve the full amount of your jail time, just let me know now. Because if you come in here with one more random ridiculous excuse, that's what you're getting. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Make allocution.
Your Honor, I think certainly Mr. Gomez had a correctly started his probation. I think all these violations are within the first month after his sentence or close to that. But I'm hearing that in recent, rather since this report was issued in the middle of February, he has been doing much better. Like Mr. Hanna is satisfied with this recent attendance and performance. And so I think he is going to do well going forward on probation.
He's only had 1 month since then, so I'm not particularly impressed that he went 30 days after receiving essentially 3 violations. I recognize one was dismissed because he later reported. He did not report on the date that he was scheduled to report. And then the positive test, and then failing to appear on the next test, that's not gonna fly. He's gonna get a scram tether for 90 days. You can go in and check in with Mr. Hanna, and then you go get your tether. Do you have any questions for the court?
No, Your
Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
We're all set, thank you. The record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Christina Sams, 19-04826, and then 24-02628. Let's see, Ms. Sams, this is a show cause on both of these matters because you owe $125 on the assault battery file 24-062628, and then on the retail fraud, you owe $644.87. When I saw you on February 28th, you said that you would pay $250 by 4 p.m. that day, and that you would pay $20 per month on the 28th of each month. And you are not compliant with that payment arrangement. What's your plan?
To get on a monthly payment plan, to get on a payment plan with the courts.
You're already on a payment plan. You were supposed to pay $250.
I didn't get the paperwork. Well, yeah, I didn't follow through with it. I did it.
I'm sorry? I didn't hear you.
I said I didn't follow through with it. I didn't, like you said, I didn't drop the payment for the $250.
Okay. You did not make the $250 at all?
No, I didn't.
Okay, when are you gonna make a payment?
Let's set it up for next week, Friday, this coming Friday.
How much?
I don't know, whatever the minimum that they'll let me put down to start the payment.
Are you employed?
No, I'm not.
Okay, why are you not employed?
I'm currently looking for employment. I just got out of jail not too long ago. I was incarcerated for 8 weeks through your courtroom. Well, not through you, Union County, but yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I think I recognize you probably were in custody, so you got out of custody when?
Yeah, back in December or something like that. And it's been really hard considering that I got a felony in my background now. Like I'm getting out with this. I never had a felony before. They not too cool with just, I don't know. It's really not no excuse, man. Whatever you want to put me on a payment plan, I can pay.
That's what
It's
I'm
not,
trying to
it's
do.
not,
If you're looking for employment, do you have any interviews lined up at this time?
no.
Where have you applied?
Who the temp agencies like Fast Ready and the People Ready or something like that. It was called Cornell Staffing and was staffing through the temp agencies.
Okay, I'm gonna set this for a show cause hearing 30 days out. You're gonna bring me proof of your applications for 10 jobs, okay?
Yeah, and then you still require, you still requiring me to pay for this, pay this
I'm resetting
after I bring
this
you that
because
or no?
you don't have the ability to pay, it sounds like. So I
Correct,
am
correct.
resetting this for another show cause date so that you can show me that you're making efforts to get a job.
Okay.
May 6th and 9:15.
May 6th at 9:15.
Okay.
You're all set for today.
All right, off mute now. All right, so that's all lit on that one. First one, crazy lady in jail. Second one, Colonel Sanders didn't want to not drink, and then we got the lady who wanted to not pay any money. So, all right, Gina, watch court. You'll always see something new here. She says she's never seen somebody with both cheeks pierced. I didn't see her. I didn't see her other cheek, so I don't know. But I got you, Gina. So here we're gonna go to another one. Let's see what we got here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
We're present in the
We
matter
got
of State of
Judge
Ohio versus
O'Donnell.
Timothy Walker, case number 24 CR 001140. The defendant is present in court with defense counsel Chad Malky. We were previously in court on January 29th, 2025, where the defendant withdrew his previously entered plea of not guilty and pled guilty to count 1, theft, a felony of the 5th degree, count 3, theft, a felony of the 5th degree, and count 5, theft from a person in a protected class, a felony of the 4th degree. The defendant was found guilty, and the court ordered a pre-sentence investigation and report and victim impact statement. The state has had the opportunity to review those reports and is prepared to proceed with sentencing. Thank you.
Mr. Mulkey?
Yes, Your Honor, we are prepared to go forward with sentencing at this time. Thank you so much, Your Honor. My client is 43 years old. He is married. He has one child who's 22 years old. He indicates to me, Your Honor, that he receives veterans disability benefits for a number of disabilities. He served approximately 16 years in the Army. He further indicates he was honorably discharged, Your Honor. He does have incoming proceeds as a result of his disability benefits, with which he plans to use to pay the restitution owed in this case, the approximately $12,000, Your Honor. He indicates he would have no issue paying at least $1,000 a month for the next 12 months and possibly have the entirety of the restitution paid off sooner than that if needed to do so. For that reason, Your Honor, we would ask the court to consider a community control sanction in this matter, not a term of incarceration in the local jail or in the prison at this time. Your Honor, he acknowledged to me when I talked to him and as I've reviewed the PSR that he should have been forthright in his dealings with these folks, these jobs that he never completed, Your Honor, and he does want to acknowledge that and make that right at this time, Your Honor. He is retired, so he's not currently working, but as I said, he does have a means with which to pay, no outstanding warrants. He doesn't have a valid license right now. He indicates he chooses not to get one. Driving makes him uncomfortable, Your Honor. And with all that being said, again, we would ask for community control, no prison time, no actual jail time on this case, and then whatever community control sanctions, of course, deemed appropriate by the court, Your Honor, including the aforementioned restitution. Thank you.
What do you have to say?
I take 100% responsibility.
No, you don't. You were telling the probation officer that you sold the business and you didn't know that they didn't follow up. So you don't take any responsibility.
I did say that, Judge.
Why did
I
you
was-
say that?
I was wrong. It was my fault. I signed these contracts with these customers.
Who did you sell the business to?
One, and I can get you his last name. I can't pronounce it.
Okay, I don't believe you. You had contact with these people up until you refused to have contact with all these people. Over and over and over, they tried. And then you promised them you'd give them the money back, and then you just disappeared. So you didn't sell the business to Juan somebody or other, okay? You just took the money and didn't do the work. So you don't take any responsibility. I don't know what that word means in the context of a criminal case anyway, but you don't take any acknowledgement that you did anything wrong.
I did. It
Okay.
was wrong on my end. What I did was wrong, 100% wrong. I want to make it right, and I will make it right. The only thing I can do by making it right is paying them back what I took from them.
3 years ago. So what, I'm gonna believe you that you're gonna pay him back?
I swear on everything that's holy, Judge, that
Doesn't
I'm
mean
going
any,
to pay.
it doesn't mean anything to me.
If you give me the
Your
opportunity,
your
I-
word, when I read this pre-sentence report, it blares out at me that you're not to be believed with anything that you say.
If you give me the opportunity to show you that I am truthful with paying all this restitution back and anything else that I need to pay back. All I ask for is one chance. And if I mess up, which I won't, but if I do, then have your way with me, Judge.
I can do that right now.
I understand that. But I just ask.
What did you do with all this money that you stole?
I don't know, Judge.
You don't know. Why don't you know?
I don't know where it went. I had a real bad drinking problem, I had a bad gambling problem, but that's not an excuse. I don't know where it all.
Didn't you tell her, the probation officer, you didn't have any problems? You certainly didn't have a drinking problem, right?
Not anymore.
Okay.
I don't do drugs. I don't gamble anymore.
So that's where it went, gambling.
Majority of it, gambling and drinking. Yes, Judge. If you give me the opportunity to prove to you that I will pay this back in a timely manner that you set forth.
Well, isn't there more to it than just paying it back? I mean, they've been, first of all, Miss McAdams, you really took advantage of her. Okay? You knew her husband was a vet.
Yes,
You knew he had recently passed away.
that is correct.
And then you went and said you would help her any way you could. And then, boy, you really stuck it to her. You really, really took advantage of her. That's despicable.
I did, Your Honor, I did. And there's nothing I can say besides that I was completely wrong in doing that and doing it to everybody else.
No kidding. No kidding. So, beyond the monetary damage that you did to all three of these folks, what about the emotional damage you did, especially to her?
I understand.
You understand?
I broke a trusted friendship. And I'll never be able to regain that. I wish I could in any way whatsoever.
And then you just wouldn't respond to her. And then she put something on Facebook. And you immediately respond to that. Nice job controlling the little group chat on that stupid Facebook Kirtland thing. Nice job doing that. Part of the game. So she puts something on Facebook, then you call her. And you say to her, what the fuck is wrong with you? Did you say that to her?
I don't remember.
You don't remember. Well, my guess is you said that to her, okay?
Then
Because
I-
there's one thing I know, okay? This is the second time, third time I've met you, right? Pre-trial, plea, and now.
Yes, Judge.
I have not met Ms. McAdams. I did read her victim impact statement. And I believe her, I don't believe you. So you said that to her.
Then I did say that to her,
You
Judge.
did.
I honestly, I don't remember, but I do use that language, or I did use that language quite a bit.
So you not only have, from what you're telling me, assume it's true that you had a drinking problem and you had a gambling problem, you also had a theft problem. You
Yes.
have no respect for other people's property.
Unfortunately, at the time, I wasn't thinking of it that way.
You're a grown adult, right?
Yes, Judge.
You served in the Army, right?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, you know right from wrong, right?
I do, Judge.
Okay. So don't tell me you weren't thinking of it. You thought clearly about it. And this nonsense that you were on a ventilator from COVID and you couldn't perform a job when you were in Florida. This is a big con that you started with this Facebook thing. You know, what's it called? Something Kirtland? All Around Kirtland?
That is a group that,
You don't live in Kirtland,
no, I do not.
and you were the, however, you become the administrator of All Around Kirtland for the sole purpose of stealing money.
I did work in Kirtland when that group was created.
Right. Were you All Around Fairport too? Were you that one? Were you administrator of that?
No.
one? Okay. There's more money in Kirtland than there is in Fairport, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do know. Where did you grow up?
Menor?
You know goddamn well there's more money in Kirtland than there is in Fairport. So don't tell me you don't know.
Okay.
Right?
When that page was created, I was working at La Kersey Garden Center for the sole purpose of trying to advertise for them. That was the sole purpose of why that page was created at the
Well,
time.
listen to me. Don't bullshit me, okay? When somebody, I forget which victim it was, went on that Facebook page looking for suggestions for contractors, you immediately responded because you're in control of the whole thing, okay? That's why you set it up. So what's the price you should pay beyond the restitution for what you did?
To be perfectly honest with you, Judge, I would ask all the victims what they would want me to do for them, or to help the community out, or,
I already got their statements. I already know what they want. I asked you what you think I should do to you beyond the restitution.
some type of community outreach in support of less fortunate people. Giving my time up to help people in need, to help the communities, whatever they may need. The only thing I can offer is
Why would I send you out into the community when you've demonstrated you're a con man? Why would I do that? Why would I give you another field of victims to troll upon?
to give me a chance to prove that I'm a better person.
Well,
than-
you can prove, you don't need me to tell you to do something to prove you're a better person. You can prove that you're a better person by being a better person, okay? And it starts with not stealing from other people. I have nothing to do with you being a better person or a worse person. I have nothing to do with that.
I would like to show everybody that I am a good person by allowing me to.
Nobody's standing in your way.
I want to prove it to myself that I'm a good person. I want to prove it to everybody that I am a good person. I made horrible mistakes, and they were very bad mistakes.
It's not a mistake, though. It's a conscious action. Those aren't mistakes. Mistakes is you meant to turn left, but you turned right, and then you had to double back to go back where you can. That's a mistake. You made conscious decisions to steal from people, to
And
take advantage of people.
I did.
It's not a mistake.
I never want to do anything like that again,
Well, then you shouldn't.
and I won't.
I hope you won't.
And I hope I can, prove to everybody that that will never occur again.
Well, there's 100% way to prove to people that will never occur again. You know what that is?
Not to do it again.
Not to do it again. This ain't rocket science we're dealing with here.
I understand, Judge. But I still need to prove to myself, to everybody, I need to. So everybody knows I'm not this horrible person that I was. I was a horrible person. Doing this to my friends, people that trusted me.
Anything else you want to say?
I mean, I can't change what I did. What I did was completely wrong. I knew what I was doing at the time, and it was wrong. The only thing I could do now is try to make everything better by paying them back, which is perfectly fine, and hopefully they can forgive me one day for being a horrible person.
Well, nobody can ever change the past. It's impossible. Okay? Now, whether they change course in the future is up to them. Okay? I'm a little skeptical of you when you give that bullshit story to the probation officer that you sold the business and you thought everything was being done, which that isn't even close. I mean, that is so, I don't know why you peddled that to her, okay? Because these people, these three people chased you and chased you and chased you, and you ignored them and dropped off the face of the earth until she put something on Facebook, Miss McAdams, and you responded to her. You didn't sell it. What? So that makes me very skeptical that you're apt to change at all.
I am, Judge. And all I ask.
You can tell me that, okay, and I can say I'm skeptical, and you can tell me you're gonna change, and I can say I'm skeptical, and we can do this till noon or so. I mean, so what? Doesn't mean anything.
I can prove it to you. If you give me the opportunity, I will prove it to you.
You don't, see, that's where you're mistaken. You don't need an opportunity. I don't give opportunities. I just sit here, okay, and deal with what comes before me. You create your own opportunity.
I will make that happen. I know I can, and I know I will.
All right, have a seat.
Yes,
Veronica?
Your Honor, I believe Ms. McAdams is present today and would like to make a statement to the court prior to the state making the recommendation.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to address the defendant if I can.
Sure.
Kim, before I go any further, I want to know why you hurt me. Please don't use the excuse of substance abuse, and don't lie. I have no tolerance for lying. So why did you hurt me?
I don't have a good reason for you, Kathy. I had the money, and I didn't do what I intended to do with it.
Well, you broke my heart.
I apologize with everything
You
in
were
my
at my
soul.
husband's funeral, and you promised you would help me. So, Today, you'll receive what you deserve. Whatever the judge says you deserve worse. But that's not my call. The judge will determine your fate. Only you can change the direction of your life, no one else. The judge will give you the tools, but only you can use them. Tim, you need to look at the man staring back at you in the mirror and finding out if you like that person, because that person isn't very likable. You hurt me. Only you can change the person in the mirror. I'm going to give you something you haven't asked for. Of course, I want my money back. But I'm giving you my forgiveness. I'm not offering it. I'm giving it to you. And that's not easy for me to do. It's been 3 years of this, excuse the expression, bullshit. And it needs to end. But the forgiveness starts here and now, and you need to prove it to every single person in this room that you can and will change. I never want to see your name again. I don't want to see it in any court roster. Nothing, ever again. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. As part of the plea agreement, the state did agree to recommend community control sanctions at sentencing, and the state entered into that agreement for the sole purpose of the hope that the victims will get paid back and will get their money back. The defendant has spoken a lot about wanting the opportunity to make things right and wanting the opportunity to pay these people back. These people have been asking for their money back for 3 years. He's had 3 years to pay it back, and actually the Gerbachs, Carrie and Patrick, have a default judgment against the defendant for the money that he owes them, and he has not paid them. So that opportunity has existed. He has not paid them back. The defendant is also currently has a case pending in Cuyahoga County regarding working for a Dollar General and stealing over $10,000 for that Dollar General. And I think the theme here is he is put in a position of trust. People put their trust in him, and he repeatedly breaks that trust, and he repeatedly steals from them. Specifically, Ms. Bach as well. This affected her business and her livelihood. She was relying on the defendant so that she could make her livelihood renting out her property, and she was not able to do that because of the defendant's actions. So the state is asking for community control so the defendant can pay the full restitution amount of $12,017.49. That is not the entire amount that he took from the victims. However, one of the victims was able to repurpose some of the items that the defendant left at her home, and so she herself did the math to figure out what she wanted to be fair. She wanted to be fair to the defendant, and so she was able to figure out that about $560 worth of things she was able to use, and she is not asking for that in restitution. Altogether, the money that he took was $12,577.49. State is asking that the defendant be put on a stringent payment plan so that this money gets paid as quickly as possible. Thank you.
All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report. And the victim impact statements, as well as a letter on behalf of Mr. Walker. Considered all the provisions in 29, 20, and 11, 12, and 13. One of the things that really bothers me about you beyond the obvious is the fact that you minimized everything when you went over to the probation department and were interviewed over there. From what you did with regard to these 3 jobs, the alleged sale, the lack of any problems with it as it relates to drugs or alcohol, never once indicating that you had a gambling problem, because that's the obvious thing to me, jumps out at you, that's where the money went. Perhaps on your vacation in Florida too. So, right up until today, you minimize what's going on here. I'm going to go along with the joint recommendation and place you on community control for 5 years. You're going to serve 180 days in a Lake County jail with credit for 2. You're to have no drugs or alcohol, and you'll be screened. You're going to pay restitution to the Gearbox in the amount of $5,098, to Ms. McAdams in the amount of $4,500, to Ms. Bach in the amount of $6,769.51, and that will be payable at the rate of $1,000 per month to probation. You're going to get a drug and alcohol evaluation. You're going to follow the recommendations. You're to have no contact with the victims. You're going to complete the Decision Points program and follow the recommendations. You're going to get a valid driver's license. You're going to pay the cost and supervision fees. Any other terms, Ms. Randazzo?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Do you understand the terms?
Yes, Judge.
If you don't comply with the terms, the state will file a motion to terminate your community control, and if I find you violated, you face 42 months in prison. You understand that?
Yes, Judge.
Anything else? What?
Just to clarify for the restitution
What?
amounts, I have $5,000 to the Gearbox.
5,098.
5,098.
Yeah.
4,500 to Ms. McAdams.
Right.
The amount that I had for Ms. Bach was $2,517. So can you just repeat your amount again, please?
She's got an amount of $6,769.59.
Okay.
That was
$759.
$6,769.51.
Thank you.
And that was a higher number that was reduced by whatever method she determined she got items returned.
Thank you.
Anything beyond that?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Mulkey, anything else?
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, we're adjourned.
All right.
All right, there was that. Let's look at let's jump over to Judge Boyd real quick, and then we'll jump to Judge West. So here we go with Judge Boyd.
All right, the court is calling 2024 CR 012444, State versus Jorge Luis De Leon. Could I have parties announced for the record? State.
Rick Pena for the state of Texas.
Defense.
Kimberly Bush for the defense.
All right, and are you Mr. De Leon?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right, you were here and you entered a plea of no contest on March 24th. The court found that there was sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court deferred finding of guilt as you had applied for deferred adjudication. The PSI here. Thank you. Was waived. And both parties requested that would give the state and the defense a chance to present whatever information they wanted to present to the court or whatever evidence they wanted to present to the court. State, do you have any criminal history?
Yes, Your Honor.
And defense, I'm assuming there's no objection because the court had requested criminal
I'm
history.
not going to reject to his criminal history, given that it's something that would be covered in a PSI anyway.
Right.
As much as I'd like to ask the court just to believe everything I say and go on that basis, alas. And let me see if I have a copy.
Well, while they're looking for that, is there any evidence or anything you want the court to consider or any witnesses, counsel?
I would
very briefly like to call my client and then his daughter.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Jorge Luis de Leon.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
Mr. De Leon, you've applied for probation in this case, both regular and deferred adjudication, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you're asking the court to take a chance on you and to believe that you can move forward in society without getting arrested again or without causing any kind of criminal issues.
Yes, ma'am. That is my intention.
Okay. What do you plan on doing differently than what you had been doing? Without saying that you necessarily had been.
Well, trying to buy my own house and where I live my rest of my life, that particular house, but. it's-
Okay. So you no longer own that trailer that you were in,
No,
correct?
ma'am, I don't.
Okay, and, do you own your truck anymore?
No, ma'am. It was
Okay.
sold.
Where do you plan on living and how do you plan on surviving?
Live, stay with my daughter for as long as I wanted there and hopefully to see my grandsons grow with my grandkids and enjoy it with them.
Okay. What do you live on, sir? Are you
On
on
Social
social
Security.
security? Okay. And if you remain incarcerated, is that going to stop?
No, ma'am.
Okay, it won't?
Oh, yeah, we'll stop. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All right. Now, this case didn't just happen in a vacuum. You felt that the victims had been, well, tell me what your relationship was to the victim.
I found them on the streets, living in the streets, 3 young little kids, and a father and a grandfather.
All right, so I'm sorry, let me just say this. All right, it appears, because I remember what I read in the stipulations. He has tools. He was working on his vehicle. He felt like the complainants were stealing his tools. Now, here's my question. How old are you, sir?
72.
All right, how old are the complainants? Approximately?
34.
Approximately 34. All right, so here's my question. State, have you had contact with the complainants?
You attempted, Your Honor, yes.
All right, so does that mean no? You attempted, but there
Well,
was no contact?
He had a criminal charge pending. We tried to get his defense attorney's permission to speak with him. Once we got it, we attempted and he hadn't responded.
All right, so sir, here's the thing. I don't know if it's true that somebody was trying to steal your tools or not. It appears that you thought that they were stealing them. And the reason why I say that is because in the stipulations, you tell the officer that you believe they were stealing your tools. All right. Here's the thing, you can't use that type of self-help. You can't pull a gun on somebody and say, hey, you better give me my tools. That's not the way it works. You shouldn't do that. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
The other thing is, I understand that people want to help people, but you can't take in complete strangers. If you see, because you're not Child Protective Services, if you see somebody who's living on the street and they have children with them, honestly, yes, it's great to say, here's some money for you. But it may be even better for you to call Child Protective Services and say, these people are homeless, they're living on the street, I'm gonna let them come stay with me. Because you know what would end up happening? CPS would have investigated you and would see if that's an appropriate place for you. Now, you know where we are now?
Yes, ma'am.
Now where we are is they're not living there anymore, I'm assuming. So that means that the children are somewhere, who knows where, in the street because you didn't proceed the right way. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I'm going to give you a choice. The state has offered you 3 years. I've read this case. I can sentence you to 2 years in the prison, or either I can give you deferred adjudication. Those are your two choices. There's no other choice for you to make. 2 years in prison or either deferred adjudication. All right. And with deferred adjudication, if you are unsuccessful and a motion to revoke is filed, you're looking at potentially 20 years in the prison. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a place to stay?
Yes, ma'am.
Who will you be staying with?
With my daughter.
Who is present in the courtroom today?
All right, thank you.
and has been present at
All
every
right, and
hearing.
if you can, anybody else want to ask him any more questions?
No, I just have the criminal history whenever you're ready.
All right, if I could see his criminal history, please. And could I have his daughter come up?
Mr. Leon?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and that you so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Elva General.
All right, do you live in Bear County?
I do.
All right. What is your relationship with your father?
My father, I'm his daughter. His father.
All right. Well, I mean,
My dad.
do y'all have a good relationship? Do you talk to him on a daily basis? Does he has any mental health issues going on with him?
No.
All right, when you say not that you know of, because I'm seeing that in his past, he has some driving while intoxicated going on.
Yes, ma'am. It may be. No, I don't think so. He's always been nice. I mean.
Okay. Any anger issues with you? All right, so you're gonna allow him to live with you?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you're allowing to live with him to live with you, I require that probation do field visits. So they're gonna do field visits. So you can't say, well, I don't want probation to come here. Well, I mean, you can say, probation, I'm not gonna allow you to do field visits. Then you know what's gonna end up happening? He's not gonna be allowed to stay with you. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Has he ever had any mental health issues in his past? Do you know?
No.
All right, any other questions from either side?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, it sounds like you don't need any argument.
No, I mean, it appears to the court, and if my appearances are incorrect, please let me know that this was an argument over tools and state you're silent. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the fact that the state is offering 3 years prison, when you think about what you're charged with, it's not a lot of time in the sense of what the range of punishment is. I know any time in custody is a lot of time, but the court is going to grant your application for deferred adjudication. And does your daughter have any children living with her at her home?
Yes, ma'am.
What are their ages?
They yes and
Are they minors?
Yes.
All right, he's not allowed to babysit. And what I can tell you is if the children are in the home, there needs to be another adult in the home, not him. He's not allowed to do that. Do you understand? All right, thank you. All right. When's the last time you had alcohol? Was it before the arrest?
I gave alcohol to, 10 years ago.
All right. Ms. Abrams, this is what the court is going to do. It's going to be 6 years deferred adjudication and affirmative finding of deadly weapon, affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Daniel Leal, that's the complainant. A $1,500 fine to be probated, 6 years deferred adjudication. I'm going to allow you to do outpatient treatment. I'm sorry, I'm going to allow you to do your TAP evaluation out of custody. If you miss that appointment, a motion to revoke is going to be filed. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll do a TAP evaluation out of custody. Follow recommendations. And probation, if they recommend inpatient treatment, we'll start with intensive outpatient treatment. There's going to be 90 sober meetings in 90 days. There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Regular random UAs. Are you employed or on SSI?
Ma'am, I help people who need help or
All right.
anything they carpentry.
Are you on regular retirement or
Yes,
disability?
regular retirement.
All right. And how old are you? 72?
72, ma'am.
All right. I'm not going to require him to have employment, Ms. Abrams. He's 72. There's going to be field visits one time per month until further notice. I'm going to order 100 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order anger management. Once he completes that, that will be deemed satisfied. Probation, is there anything else? Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful? All right, and excuse me, I don't see, let me see if I have it. Ah, yes. All right, did you review the trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. You're gonna have to, you're 72. You're supposed to make better decisions. You're not supposed to make the same decisions that a young person would make. You understand? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
So don't do this anymore. And while you're on probation, you're not allowed to possess weapons, but I'll throw that in there as well, just so you can remember. Miss Abrams, no possession of weapons. And I'm sorry, Miss, what was your name again?
Elva.
All right, and he's to reside with Elva De Leon. All right, good luck to you.
Thank you,
Thank
Your
you,
Honor.
ma'am. Thank you, Your Honor. Lord be with you.
Thank you.
All right, so I had some thoughts about this one. If the story is someone was trying to steal the tools and he used the gun to protect himself or to protect his tools, I'm completely on his side. I'm completely, team old guy here. If he just thought some rascals down the street had taken his tools and he decided to go confront them with the gun, that changes the story, and maybe that starts to make sense of what Judge Boyd is going for. But especially at his age, he's not going to be able to build up a tool collection again, and you should have every right to protect your property. But let's just, I don't know, maybe we'll just assume the judge knows more of the story, but she gave him deferred. And so in the end, as long as he can stay straight, he's good. He's got a few bills he's got to pay. He'll have to pay some monitoring fees, but I'm sure they'll be able to work with him on that. Let's jump over to Judge
So
West.
was there another one and then this was an updated one? No, because I thought this should. Like this says, and this was an
Updated. Because I spoke with Miss Johnny and she said this is the same one from the last PSI.
the old one.
Here's both of them.
I guess I don't understand why we got two. I'm very confused.
Well, this was
Remind me.
where she had pled when you refused to go along with it because she didn't accept responsibility for the crime.
Uh-huh.
And then we came back and she did accept responsibility, so we re-pled for the same.
Okay.
There was a different attorney involved on the first time and then I was appointed.
Yeah, she pled in May of last year with full deferred with Tom Burback.
So nothing else was done as far as them talking to Miss Johnny about
No.
acceptance of responsibility? They
I
didn't.
think Miss Johnny said they called and asked her for her updated address and that was it.
Okay. So, Miss Johnny, I'm going to ask you again, and I know we probably went through this before. First of all, you're Kirsten Johnny. And Miss Johnny, I want to make sure, because in that previously you said you didn't do it, you were forced to do it because of your financial, you were forced to plea because of your financial situation, that it wasn't fair. And so tell me what your position is now.
I never really said I didn't do it. I said it was an accident.
Okay.
I still feel the same way a little bit.
All right.
I'm not even gonna say I do feel the same way.
Now I understand, but you're not disagreeing that you didn't.
I'm saying it was an accident. Somebody grabbing you by your foot. That's like somebody accident hit you at the back of your head. You're gonna have something that's normal.
Well, right, because you were not complying with what they told you to do to get out of the car, correct?
I was pulled over because I was in a high. I stay in the area. I was pulled over because.
Hang on. Don't talk yourself out of this again. Because if you want to talk yourself out of it, we'll put it on the trial docket and we'll get it done in a few weeks and let a jury decide. Look at me. I'm actually trying to help you right now. Okay? If you had complied and just done what he asked you to from the very beginning of that stop, none of this would have happened. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah.
Yes, what?
Yeah.
No, do you agree? Listen to the question. Do you agree with that statement or do you disagree with that statement?
I don't want to lie.
You don't like it, do you? You don't think he should have done that?
It's not that. I feel like we was pulled over for no reason. If you follow,
It doesn't matter if you were pulled over for no, listen to me. This is why we're hearing stuff all over in the news. It doesn't matter what you think. If a cop pulls you over, then you take the ticket for not wearing your seatbelt. This is all over not wearing your seatbelt. And here you are in felony court and you're still not taking responsibility for the fact that he said, hey, ma'am, do this. And you said, I don't think you should have pulled me over. So I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And I'm going to lodge my foot against the door and I'm not going to get out. I'm going to make you drag me out of my car and then I'm going to kick you because you shouldn't have pulled me over in the first place. When all you had to do was get your ticket, go to JP court and try to fight it there legally. But here you are in felony court for a second-degree felony instead. So do you want to try to tell that story to a jury or do you want to accept some responsibility today?
I don't feel like going to trial.
You don't feel like going to trial. Well, there's two parts to that question. Do you feel like accepting responsibility? Do you think it would be a better idea next time you're pulled over to comply and just do what they ask you to?
Yes.
And Your Honor, just for the record, Miss Johnny did review the video with me in my office, so she is aware of what all transpired. She saw it.
Do you have any reason to believe she shouldn't be pleading to this from what you saw?
I do not.
So, you even saw how you acted. It's probably a good idea. All right. I'm going to find that you previously entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. I'm going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty. I'm going to follow the agreement that you made with the district attorney. I hope you prove me wrong on this because I really have some concerns that you're going to be able to be successful because you're not taking responsibility and you're not wanting to follow directions and things like that. And you're about to have 4 years of having to follow directions on probation. So I'm going to defer all proceedings for 4 years. You're ordered to pay a $500 fine. You're ordered to follow all of the rules and conditions of probation. If you do that, this is a great opportunity today because you are not a convicted felon. You don't have that conviction on your record. And if you successfully complete it, follow all of the rules, you will never have a felony conviction. At the end of your probation, the case will actually be dismissed. The other side to that, though, and this is really important for you to understand, because we've had this conversation now so many times, I'm not likely to forget you. And you can ask anybody, and Ms. Holmes has known me for a long time. It's not usually good when I remember people, right? So if you violate your probation, you'll get brought back into court. You could be found guilty, which means you become a convicted felon, and I can sentence you to prison anywhere in the range of punishment, which is up to 20 years in prison for this. You understand?
Yeah.
All right, I'm handing you the trial court certification that shows this was an agreement that I followed, so you've waived your right to appeal. You need to have a seat here in the courtroom. Probation will go over your paperwork as soon as they're ready.
Okay, and you said that I'm not considered a conviction felon, but I was told that even though you say that, it's still going to be on my record.
So the arrest is on your record. The arrest will always be on your record. But so if you're asked a question on filling out an application for a job or something, if it says, have you been convicted of a felony? The answer is no. But if it says, have you ever been charged with a felony or are you on probation for a felony? You are going to have to say yes to that. But the conviction part is still better than nothing, not having that conviction, right?
Yes.
Okay, have a seat in the courtroom. Watch for probation to call you up.
Well, I'm just gonna go back to Gonzalez for a minute. When did she actually get picked up, I wonder?
Thursday.
Hey, this is to quash a warrant, right? That's a.
Correct.
And that is what Ms. Gonzalez is asking, right?
Well, she just got put on the calendar for that purpose.
It's
basically.
been served, so.
It's been served.
Like I said, so Ms. Gonzalez is asking that the warrant be quashed or it should be PR'd.
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand what we're being asked here.
Well, and I want to make sure I don't stand.
Shadowing the city's position.
I think the city's position is likely,
Warrant's been served, the issues, conditions of release, but she has some concern. That's how.
I think the city's position is probably the court's position. But I want to see if we can get hold of Ms. Gonzalez, Ms. St. Marie.
It's just her office number and all of those things.
All right, so we got to put Ms. Gonzalez on next week. Ms. Gonzalez, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if your attorney has been notified or not. I know you left a message. Well, Mr. Fleck, right now, how many times have we issued warrants on this? 3 times?
Quite a lot,
Yeah.
I don't have my file here, but I feel while we also tried not to issue warrants, thinking, well, she's just around the corner. She'll be here next week if we just, or 2 weeks, and we just sent her a note. And I think whatever the warrant amount is.
1, 2, 3, 4 warrants in 2024 and then this is number 5. So Ms. Gonzalez, we're not going to change the bail right now, but we are going to put you back on the calendar for next week. A week from today is the 10th. You think you're going to be able to? Yes.
For a moment. Anytime I've been in court and gotten any dates, I've always been there. They don't show up at our house for whatever reason. Anyone that's ever been sent to the house, I've not received. But I've always been there. I just got a new phone this last week, which I don't even know the number on it. I was supposed to send it to my lawyer on Friday.
Well, I think you misunderstood the way I said it. We don't send warrants over to the house. I'm saying that you're about 2 or 3 blocks away from court and I can't seem to get you here. So we're going to keep the warrant amount where it is right now. And we're going to put you back on for next week and let Ms. St. Marie know that you're in custody and you're on court for next week at 1:30. And I'll go back to my first question. Do you think you're going to be able to post that bail?
I cannot post that bail. And right now, the main reason is the old guy that I take care of, he's already been home the last 4 days alone. And I've tried to get people to check on him, but I don't know if anyone has even managed to. But he has the first bail right now, but this last week, his card got compromised. He thought he would try some online casino thing and he did Bitcoin. He canceled his card and we have no access to his account.
Your Honor, I think I have reason to suspect that someone has been in contact with the gentleman she's concerned about. I think that Ms. Gonzalez, there was that gentleman posted $1,000 bail that got forfeited last week because she was not here, and that was after an attempt to when she was supposed to be here on the 30th of December. She didn't show. I think we bounced that around a few times because we didn't want to, and then his bail got forfeited on the 24th, which would have been last Monday, if I'm right.
Right.
And so I think that we can just keep her on next week and we can talk about why the bail isn't what I think it should be next week.
Do you think it should be higher?
I jeopardized the place I live too because I work off my rent.
No, I understand, Ms. Gonzalez, but for some reason, I'm unable to get you to court on time.
Well, the last time there was a power outage and they rescheduled, but I didn't know that they rescheduled. It was canceled my last court date due to the power outage.
I know. Well, we're not going to change the bail today. We're going to see you next week at 1:30. If you can post the bail, you need to be here in person. You don't have any Zoom privileges. You just have to get over here.
Could you look for the bail or something? Because I could lose the place I live if I can't get out to take care of him.
Well, I honestly, that is not my responsibility. My responsibility is to get you to court on time, and that has proven to be trying to part the Red Sea. We'll see you next week. We'll try to see you next week at 1:30 in custody or out. But you got to be here in person.
Most of
it. See you next week.
mailed it to the
All
wrong
right.
house though, and that was
Oh,
proven.
no. You've lived at Wawa since I've been here and I can't get you to court.
But they've
You wanna
been
keep
sending it
arguing
to
with
Robin
me?
Hood
You
Loop.
want to keep arguing with me or do you want to be here next week at 1:30? That's an yes or no question. You'll be here next week at 1:30. No more arguing. Please. I can't take it. See you next week.
All right, see her next week. We got Judge McNally. All right, and that'll be our last one for tonight. We'll do Judge McNally here.
Mr. Muhammad, I need your name.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mohammed on behalf of the people.
Did you give us a police?
All right, I'm gonna jump in real quick. I'm not sure if y'all know Mohammed. He's a prosecutor. He's learning, but he's still fairly new. But he's normally in Judge Oakley's court, but he's been in Judge McNally's court for a little while now, and he does good. But I'd say last year, Judge Oakley, you'd see them after a trial. Judge Oakley giving them hints and helping them learn and helping them be a better prosecutor. And so it's fun to watch them here.
Report. What is the reason? All right, so let me start out by saying this is no objection and no low plea. This would be a plea to use, which is a 1 year, use of cocaine, which is a 1 year, and operating with the presence of a controlled substance, which is a 1 year. And in return, and I want to just cover something with you guys. Okay, you got use of cocaine. It's use of psilocybin, isn't it?
Fairly certain it was cocaine, Judge.
Can you tell me allegedly what this was, Mr. Collins? Allegedly?
Allegedly, it was cocaine, I believe, Judge. Ms. Bell, what do you say?
Your client's shaking. Hang on a second. Your client's shaking. Hang on, ma'am. Just wait. Your client's shaking her head no. And the allegation, the complaint, it falls under the cocaine, heroin, or another narcotic, but they specifically allege less than 25 grams of psilocybin. So it's mushrooms. It's not cocaine.
Well, right. I think it was the catch-all, Judge, that we were going with.
I get it. But they wrote on the plea form cocaine, and I'm going to ask you to change that to psilocybin. Okay?
Judge, okay, I'm going to review the report. Right.
Okay. I need the police report. When you're sending these in for a no contest plea, please send me in the report, okay? I don't have it. You're gonna have to bring it in. Maybe it's stuck in this file somewhere. I'll let him look at that.
Okay.
What is the reason for the no contest plea?
So it came at the request of defense, and I was informed that due to the defendant being under the influence, she couldn't recall exactly.
Is that true, Mr. Collins? She's saying no again.
Judge, at this time, I would just request to withdraw the plea because the defense is shaking her head no to almost everything, and so I just don't think it's appropriate. We can set this for a preliminary exam.
Wait a minute, slow down.
Yeah, Mr. Muhammad, just take it easy, Judge. She was blacked out at the time. She was fine. You guys, let's wait a minute. She's shaking her head. This is not comfortable for me right now. Just stop shaking your head, Ms. Bell. I'm going to let you talk to your lawyer in a breakout room. Mr. Muhammad's, listen. Just listen. Mr. Muhammad's going to look at the report. He's going to pull the report if it's going to be a no contest plea. I'll be happy to take it, but I want you to understand something, Mr. Muhammad, before you leave the courtroom. I've gone back and forth with the prosecutor's office about sobriety court. I want to make sure that this deal is not contingent. In other words, if she gets into sobriety court, the plea stands, obviously. If we're going to put her through a phase of bond conditions. If she doesn't comply, and I mean, especially if we don't think we can help her because she's not showing up, she's not taking it seriously, she's testing positive constantly, the team will meet. We're going to decide whether or not we're going to accept her. We want to accept her. But if we don't accept her, I want to make sure you're still good with this deal. I don't want to be having to say, well, it's contingent on her being accepted. And since you didn't accept her, Judge,
that we have to start over. I want to make sure none of that's part of this.
Correct, Judge. It isn't, and that's why I did check mark the recommendation.
Right. Now, I want you to understand though, Ms. Bell, and I'm going to let you talk to your lawyer. If you don't make it into sobriety court when they've cut you this deal, you're likely to do some significant jail time in the beginning. So I only want you getting into this if you truly want to be in sobriety court. And I want to explain to you real quickly, in case you haven't had the opportunity. It's not for the weak-hearted here. We'll put you in a bond phase. You'll immediately start testing 2-3 times a week at your own expense. You'll immediately get into treatment. You'll immediately be placed on a SoberLink device, even though this involved drugs. And I don't know what the extent of your alcohol problem. You'll immediately start going AA, NA 3-4 times a week. You'll immediately start meeting with probation every other week. And you'll have to meet with me in the off weeks. It's not for the weary. This is not something I would recommend anybody do for a restricted license or to avoid jail or because they think it's better, because it's tough. And I don't want anybody coming in here thinking the program is just a little bit more than regular probation, because it's not. So I'm not discouraging you. I'd love to have you. I've enjoyed sobriety court. We've helped a lot of people turn their lives around, but this decision is personal to you. And it should only be made if you decide to go this route with the idea, I want to change my life. I'm not just looking to get through 2 years of probation. I want to change my life. I want to stop using drugs. I want to straighten out my life and get clean. So now you can unmute her. Do you understand everything I just said, Ms. Bell?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to put you in a breakout room to speak to Mr. Collins. I'm going to put you in a breakout room to speak to Mr. Collins, and then Mr. Mo. Yeah.
Judge, if I may, I think the court has been fairly explicit in what the terms are. It's really at this point, Ms. Bell, I believe, is willing to go forward, Judge.
That's fine. She was shaking her head no when you said she was blacked out. She was shaking her head no when everybody was saying cocaine instead of psilocybin. I'm still going to take a plea based on the use of the controlled substance in the complaint. I'm not going to pretend it's cocaine. So you guys can figure it out. I will be glad to take it. If you satisfy yourself, when you look at the report, you pull the report, you give it to us. If it's going to be a no contest plea, then I don't have a problem. But just indicate on the plea form it's psilocybin, not cocaine. There's a difference. You can take the file. Okay. All right, that's what I'll do. I'm not going to keep you, Mr. Collins. As soon as he comes back in with it, I'm going to get you out of here. Okay?
But Judge, just to confirm, psilocybin and cocaine fall within the same schedule, so it's the same charge, correct?
I know that, but I'm not going to ask some. It's under the same statute, but it's still, your complaint alleges psilocybin. That's mushrooms. That's not cocaine. And I'm not trying to argue with anybody. I'm not going to ask anybody. I could just say use of a controlled substance and leave cocaine on there. But
no, I was just asking a question.
No, it does. It's correct. Okay. But I'm going to ask her specifically what she consumed.
Okay.
Okay, used and what she used before she operated the vehicle. Thanks. Okay, real quick, Singh against Venetia Renee Bell. This is file number 24M710670. Mr. Collins, again, your appearance.
Good morning, Judge. Harold Collins, P56805, on behalf of Ms. Venetia Bell, who's present on the Zoom screen.
I have a stipulated plea agreement that says that there's no objection to a no contest plea. Your lawyer is telling me that you blacked out. I'm told now there was cocaine in your system and that there was psilocybin in the vehicle for consumption of a controlled substance. And counsel, do you stipulate that she had the prior conviction for operating while impaired back on August 13 of 19 out of the 20th District Court?
So stipulated, Judge.
All right, the complaint indicates that as well. So I'm accepting your plea to use of a controlled substance. That's no contest, lack of memory. I'm also accepting your plea to OWI 2 I'm dismissing the possession of a controlled substance, the 4-year felony. I'm referring you for a screening and assessment. Ma'am, I really hope you're taking me seriously on this because, I mean, you had an accident here, and I don't want you to say anything. It's a no contest, but you had an accident, cocaine, psilocybin, single car accident. You had a prior. We got to get your life under control. I have a sobriety court status review. I want you to come into the building today, and I have status review hearings tomorrow at 7:30 and at 3 p.m. You're free to choose whichever one.
I don't.
You muted yourself, Ms. Bell. Okay.
All right, I had to hit pause there. How funny was that? The whole time she just wanted to talk, and whenever she was allowed to talk, she muted herself. I feel for you, Venetia. I've been there.
I didn't even touch the phone.
You what?
I said, I don't know if I can get there today. It's short notice and I don't have a car, nor do I have a license.
All right, now listen, Ms. Bell. You live in Gibraltar, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we should stop this right now, because if you are not going to be able to get to court and get the testing and get the AA and get the treatment and get the victim's impact and get to everything else.
I do that already.
Your odds, hang on a second, let me finish. Your odds of making it through the program are next to nil. And I'm not trying to be negative, but there's a lot. I tried to tell you that in the beginning. There's a lot.
I fear I can't afford it.
Well, then why did we just take a plea to get you into drug court, sobriety court?
That's what I fear I can't afford.
Wait a second. This is serious business here right now.
I mean, I
want you to listen to me very carefully and clearly. If you don't make it through sobriety court, you are going to, especially if you falter, you're going to be surprised how much time you're going to do. This isn't like, let's do this. This is easier today, and it's not going to be bad tomorrow. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. When we accept you into sobriety court, the grant pays for your SoberLink device. Unmute yourself, please, or mute yourself. It pays for the SoberLink. We can assist with treatment. It pays for testing. But until then, we cannot use grant funds when you're not in the program. And you're not in the program until we accept you into the program. But I'm just telling you, Mr. Collins, I want to put the brakes on here. And I'm just not sure she's going to, I mean, when I can't even get her here today, she doesn't have a car, she does. Well, how is she ever going to get through sobriety court?
Judge, were you saying tomorrow was the first day to be there at 7:30 or 3 p.m. tomorrow?
Tomorrow for a status review hearing.
Okay, so tomorrow, Ms. Bell, not today. They're not requiring.
Well, no, I wanted her to come in and meet with probation and get her SoberLink today.
Okay.
And I mean, if somebody wants, ma'am, if you want to think I'm being unreasonable, that's okay. It's all right. I'm okay with that. I'm just not taking you into the program if you can't do these things. I'm telling you. I'm not.
She just has some restrictions. I think her license, she needs her license freed up so she can get there. She wants to take advantage.
She's going to end up with her vehicle immobilized before I stop this for 90 days because I have to by law. Let me just double check something. Who's Thomas Irwine? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Is that the gentleman whose car I was driving?
That's what our records reflect.
Okay, so he was my mechanic. My car was in the shop at the time, and he let me use his car.
Well, I can't immobilize your vehicle. I can't order immobilization, but
I don't have a car.
I know. I got it. I heard it. You said it. I I just wondered where the car was now that you were driving. If it was totaled fine, I didn't know
No,
if it was
it's in my
in your-
driveway broke down. The timing chain
All
broke
right,
down.
so,
It says it's
so,
motor.
so have you, let me ask you this. Did you give consideration to how you're going to comply with these requirements? I mean, I don't.
I'm terrified that
I-
I'm not, I don't know. Like I've been doing it for Wyandotte the best to my ability and I'm doing okay with it. I fear that the cost is what's going to get me.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, the cost is expensive while you're in bond phase. And you're gonna get hit with sobriety court fees and probation fees, but you got a problem. And this should be on the top of your priority list.
I mean, I've been sober
And
for,
if, ma'am,
for a couple of months now.
She
Ma'am,
is testing
ma'am.
twice a week, Judge, already.
yeah, I know, but I don't think she's gonna make it, based on what she's telling me. I mean,
I've
when
never
I
not
started
made it.
here-
Ms.
Ma'am,
Ms.
I-
Bell, are
I-
you willing to comply with the dictates of the program?
I'd
Yeah.
love to have you, I'd
I
love
just
to
fear
have you in the,
it's expensive.
time out. Time out. Mute yourself. Love to have you in the program. I wouldn't run a sobriety court. I started this in '08. I spent a whole year trying to get the ducks in a row. I'm not going to try to discourage you, but when I got somebody saying they don't have a car and they can't get here today, and oh my God, getting here tomorrow, it sounds like, and getting anywhere, ma'am, I don't want to debate any of this. It doesn't, I don't know what else to tell you. The requirements are the requirements. If you can make it, great. If you can't, tell me now, because the penalty will be a lot less than if we start investing all kinds of resources and I find that you signed up for a marathon and only walked to the end of the block. Now, I'm not saying you're going to do that. You might be the best probationer we've ever had. But the fact that you can't get here from about 4 miles, 5 miles away today tells me we got a problem. I mean, I don't know how you're going to get here at 7:30 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. I don't know how you're going to get the testing all these times. Unmute. Tell me what you're thinking. I'm not.
I was prepared to walk today. When Mr. Collins said we could join via Zoom, I will walk if I have to. It is a 2-hour walk. And if I got to walk, I'll walk.
Wait a second. Jeez. How are you going to get to all these obligations? You're going to have to be going somewhere listen to me. You're going to have to be going somewhere 5 days a week. Listen, please. I got all kinds of people in here. I don't want to, I feel bad that you're crying. I'm not trying to make you cry, but I cannot solve these problems for you. I cannot solve the right issue for you. And I need to make sure that you're ready to go. If you're not, fine, we'll let you withdraw the plea and we'll go to the exam next week and maybe you can take your chances. I don't know what to tell you. Stop crying, please. You should have thought about a lot of this before. Stop crying, please. To say that you're going to walk 5 times a week that takes you 2 hours, the testing facility's right down the street, that seems like a bit of a difficult task. That's 10 hours to get at least 10 hours. And that doesn't include all
my daughter. I have no choice. I have to. I'm the only caregiver for my child.
Ms. Bell, if you want to do it, I'm going to let you do it. I'm just forewarning you. If you don't make it through, it's not going to be pretty.
I'm
You do
afraid I
whatever you
can't
want to do,
afford
but I
it.
can. Counsel, I don't know what to do with her. I cannot solve these problems for her. I'm not going to give her the money myself, and I'm not going to go pick her up. What are we doing here? I mean, I don't. You can't afford it, and you got to walk to. I don't know what to tell you. You're giving me both sides of the coin here. This isn't like. There's no middle of the road with this. There's no middle of the road. You're either 100% compliant or you're not going to make it. I'm just telling you. Now, do we expect and understand that people are going to have relapses? Yes. Yes.
No, I'm not going to. That's not my fear. My fear is not being able to afford to get there.
I don't know what to tell you. I cannot solve these problems. Maybe you need to go to the circuit court and take your chances. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's for you and Mr. Collins to have talked about. I'm not talking you into it. I'm not talking you out of it. I just want you to understand what the program's about. But this stuff about, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have any answers for you. I cannot solve everybody's problems that have nothing to do with me and my ability to try to rehabilitate you, except for the fact that you can't get here.
I was drugged that night.
Ma'am.
I was drugged by somebody.
I got all these people here. This is for you and your lawyer to talk about. I'm not going to engage in a debate here. I mean, I don't know what you want to argue with me about. I'm telling you what the program is. I'm telling you what the requirements are. I'm telling you it's not going to be an excuse that you couldn't get a ride. I'm going to tell you right now, if you tell me, Judge, I just don't have the money to go test, you're not going to make it. Now, this is only for a 5-week period. Counsel, I don't really know what to do with her at this point.
You said for a 5-week. What's for a 5-week period?
The bond phase. That's how long it takes to get through the bond phase. I would give you a sentencing date in 5 weeks. You would come in here today. They'd tell you you need to go to AA. They're going to set the bond conditions for you. We're going to get you out of SoberLink. You're going to be testing 3 times a week. You're going to be immediately in treatment. You're going to be going to AA 4 times a week. And all that's going to be at your expense. Now, when we get you through the bond phase, then I can use grant funds, but I can't legally use grant funds in the bond phase. And I'll be happy to tell you that as long as you test every time and you test negative every time after you're accepted into the program, we're going to pay for your testing through the whole program for 2 years. As long as you blow in your SoberLink every day 5 times and you're negative every day 5 times, we're going to pay for your sober.
I don't even drink.
Ma'am, with all due respect, at this point, you're agitating me. You're going to be on a SoberLink device, okay? Period. Plain simple. I'm not treating you better.
Okay.
Now, I don't care if you do the program or not at this point. I'd like to have
the SoberLink doesn't concern me. That's the easy part.
Ma'am.
I'm not concerned about.
Ma'am. Counsel, I'm putting you in a breakout room with her, and you guys can decide. I'm not engaging in this colloquy anymore here. I've got a lot of work to do today. I got a lot of people, and I don't want to debate this or talk about our inability to afford it or get here. I can't do more than I'm doing. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. She seems to want to argue with me about all this. I'm not lifting a SoberLink device because she tells me she doesn't drink. So I can't hear a word you're saying, Mr. Collins.
Judge, she's not asking to have that removed or not tested on it. Ms. Bell, are you willing to deal with the dictates of the program? Yes or no?
She went to a breakout room.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
Go talk to her.
Okay.
Go talk to her. Thank you. Go back on Venetia. You have to come up here now, Mr. Early. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Venetia Renee Bell. 24. Thanks, Mr. Collins. Mr. Tafalski. Venetia Renee Bell, 24M710670. Ms. Bell, your name again, please.
Venetia Bell.
All right, Mr. Collins.
Judge, we're going to ask this honorable court to allow us to withdraw the plea. We would waive the exam and move the case to the circuit court, Judge.
Okay. Tell Mr. Muhammad I need him in here. Is that what you want to do, ma'am?
Yes.
I hope you understand I'm not discouraging it. I love to have people in here that I can help. It just didn't sound like you have the resources or the ability to comply, and that makes it bad and worse for you and frustrating for us, because then we have to do things we don't have to do. Is it true what your lawyer just said, that you wish to withdraw your plea and waive your right to an exam?
Yes.
Counsel, your appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mohammed on behalf of the people.
I took the plea, and then it became pretty clear pretty quick that she isn't going to be able to comply with the requirement. She doesn't have a car. She has no money. She's going to walk here today from Gibraltar. She's saying it's 2 hours. We got the testing facility here. So I took the plea. She wants to withdraw it. You have no objection, correct?
She wants to withdraw the plea?
And then go to waive her right to an exam and go to the circuit court.
Okay, no objection.
Any objection to her waiver of the exam?
No objection.
Any objection to her withdrawing the plea?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and withdraw the plea, and now I'm going to cover this with you again, and I'm going to tell you that you have the right to a preliminary examination on the felony charge, not on the misdemeanor charge, but on the felony charge. And at that exam, the people would have to show that the crime was committed and that you were the one who probably committed the crime. If you waive that right, you will automatically be bound over for further proceedings to the Wayne County Circuit Court on the charges contained in the complaint and warrant. So the misdemeanor of OWI 2 will go with it, as well as the count 1 possession of a controlled substance. Do you understand that? You have to answer out loud, ma'am. You have to unmute.
Yes, I do.
And you understand then, if you waive your right to an exam, that you're waiving that requirement, at least as the count 1, that they prove probable cause as to the crime being committed and you being the one who committed it, and you'll be bound over for further proceedings to the circuit court. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
And is that what you wish to do, is waive your right to an exam?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and accept the waiver. I find the waiver has been made voluntarily and understandingly. You're bound over for further proceedings. Again, the plea is allowed to be withdrawn. You're bound over to the Wayne County Circuit Court. And I'm going to give you April 15th at 9 a.m. as an AOI date in the Criminal Justice Center. Mr. Collins, I hope I didn't screw anything up here. I think it's best, though, that when somebody's showing reluctance, that in my view, there's only a 1% chance they make it. So I hope you understand, counsel.
Absolutely,
And I will,
Judge.
and April 15th will be your date, ma'am, and I sincerely wish you well. I'm going to encourage you to continue to get yourself some help. I do want to add, there was whoever arraigned on this, I do want to add that you have to go to AANA at least 3 times a week. So you can go to Narcotics Anonymous, you have to go in person. I'm adding that today. And every time you go to the circuit court, you have to bring written proof. They have to sign, somebody has to sign that form indicating that you were there with their phone number and with the other pertinent information. We're going to give you, do you have an AA form you can send her, Mr. Collins?
I do not.
I attend fan meetings monthly.
Okay, we have to go to this 3 times a week. I'm going to ask you to come up here. I'll tell you what, we're going to mail you one. We will mail you one. John, or Lisa, will you mail her an AA form, or remind John to give it to you? You still live on Lish. We will mail you. We will get that out today, but you have to go 3 times a week. And I think the form's pretty self-explanatory. So you're all set. I wish you well. Do you have any questions for me, Ms. Bell?
No, sir.
All right. I wish you well. I really do. April 15th. Mr. Collins, have a great day, sir. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for your patience.
All right, well, that was that one. Judge McNally was getting frustrated with her. He handled it better than I would have. But she, I think, talked herself out of getting a conviction. I think she's going to end up with one before it's all over with. So that's how that goes. But at least she doesn't have to go to sobriety court. That's what matters, right? All right, we're going to, we got to end the stream. It actually went longer than I thought it was going to go. All right, I got some driving to do tomorrow, so I'm gonna be busy at work. You guys have a great morning. Enjoy Judge Fleischer, and we'll see you tomorrow.